To Budget Week. Stephen Hamilton joins me. He's the Chief Economist at Blueprint Institute. Stephen, what was your overall assessment of Budget 2020 from the Coalition?
G'day, Kieran. I think we shouldn't be too hard on the Treasurer. I don't think a Treasurer has faced a budget quite this tough in memory. So the government was certainly up against it going in. Now, looking at the budget from Tuesday night, I think we can say it's a mixed bag. So there are a number of really, really important, I think, very valuable measures, particularly focused around business investment, which we know is a really strong stimulatory measure. So that's sort of the largest business investment incentive ever introduced in Australia. And I think that will drive significant investment, jobs, wages in the coming years. And there were a number of other really important initiatives. I think the tax cuts were a really, really good measure to kind of stimulate spending to get people back at work. Now, there are some gaps, though. I think the biggest gap is on direct stimulus. So the economy needs a lot of activity today as we see JobSeeker and JobKeeper be pulled out of the economy. To replace them, we need a lot more demand and a lot more activity. And the budget was a little short on that. So we would have liked to have seen something like broad cash stimulus to try and fill in that gap.
One of the other gaps that I believe, having a read of your analysis today in the Nine newspapers, was in relation to energy and climate. What was the problem there in your view?
Yeah, so of all of the new spending in the budget, it's roughly $250 billion over 4 years. So this is the biggest spend ever in Australia's history. Only around 1% was allocated to measures around environment. And the country has committed to very strong Paris targets to reduce its emissions. And at the moment, we don't have a clear emissions reduction strategy. So what we were hoping to see from this budget was the government kind of seize the moment to understand that, we need a lot of stimulus, we need a lot of spending. And a really good item to spend right now on is sort of items that are environmentally, friendly. Things like transmission infrastructure that can help support the building of renewable energy projects, right? These are the sorts of things holding back our carbon reduction that we need so badly. And these sort of projects would offer all sorts of benefits, right? They would create jobs today. They would drive emissions down to reduce the impacts of climate change going forward. And there would be a strategic move to position Australia as a sort of green energy powerhouse in the years ahead. And so, we were disappointed to see a lack of action on that. There were some measures, but I think we could have used a lot more in the budget to sort of really turbocharge the green economy. I should note that the next budget's only 7 months away, so the Treasurer and the government have another chance very soon to show their commitment.
And you spoke about direct stimulus. Will that business investment incentive that you spoke of positively, will that be the stimulus that the government's hoping for, that the private sector, through that incentive, will provide the necessary stimulus that you're hoping for?
Yeah, so the evidence from past recessions is pretty clear that business investment can provide a really strong stimulus to the economy. So it's definitely a good place to target. The problem is with the pandemic, we're in uncharted territory. We've never had a pandemic recession before, so we don't quite know if the measures we would normally use will work this time. So what we sort of favoured was the government taking a bit of a scattergun approach, like let's throw everything at the wall to get this economy moving again, because we aren't quite sure exactly which measures will work. So that's why we supported things like business investment, cash stimulus, tax cuts. We shouldn't have thought of it as one or the other. We should have tried everything that we could to get unemployment down from sort of historic highs.
And just finally, with Anthony Albanese tonight, he's going to be focusing on childcare in large part. Was this a missing piece in your view? The government says it provides 85% for low and middle income earners in terms of childcare subsidies, but is this a missing piece in the puzzle to boost workforce participation among parents?
I think that's right. I haven't met a single person who disagrees with that statement. So childcare is a massive barrier to entry into the workforce, and no time has made that more obvious than the pandemic. A lot of other countries offer very generous childcare assistance, and it obviously supports the kids, right? It gives the kids education, and we know it raises their productivity in the future. But more importantly, it helps mums mostly re-enter the workforce, right? And that has big impacts on their future earnings going into their entire career. So absolutely, I think of all times, now was the time to really give a strong boost to childcare. And again, something we would hope to see in the budget in May.
Stephen Hamilton, Blueprint Institute Chief Economist, thanks for your insights. Talk to you soon. Stay with us after the break. Less than